And I thank you all. Welcome to 2024. This is our meetup number 7. We're really looking forward to this one. I'm really excited personally about 2024. I think it's the year of ControlUp, and that is about as bold as anybody can say. Definitely me, because this whole year of VDI thing pissed me off to the extreme. So I'm going on taking it out there and saying 2024 is the year of ControlUp. And if I'm wrong, may you make fun of me forever. If I'm right, well, you know. So today we're going to talk about 2023 year in review, and then a little sneak peek into 2024, probably a big sneak peek into 2024. If you're not familiar with the ControlUp community, the entire idea is to create a place for folks like you, to create a place for our customers, our partners, anybody that wants to learn about ControlUp, anyone that wants to learn about what's going on in DEX and the value of DEX, the value of monitoring, the value of visibility, the value of EUC, all this stuff. You just want to meet other people that are just like you. Come and join us. It's that simple. That's what we're trying to build. There's many things we're doing. There's many benefits. You can do our betas and see our KB articles and our meetups and this year in-person events. But really the value is getting together. We're a community. Come and join us. Have some fun. It's not a daily job. It's just from time to time stop in and hang out with us. We'll have a good time, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on. And that's probably the biggest value you'll get. Or not the biggest, but it's secondary perk. So today we have 17,069 total members as of right now. We have over 150 ControlUp employees, so you can actually come and talk to product managers, folks like Yoni, John, Jed's even in there. And then, of course, 17,000 plus messages posted publicly. That's a boatload of public messages in there. 19,000 reactions. We're a pretty lively place. We have 50 countries. You see the stats. So join us. Drive these things up. Make me look good. But more importantly, have a good time and learn a lot. If you're not familiar, definitely check out. We have a free 50 user version of our Edge DX product, and this is not a cheese down version. This is a full version of our product for up to 50 users. You can use that in production or for your test labs, things like that. But definitely check this out. Definitely download it if you have not, and play around with it. It's a great way to get into the future of ControlUp. So with that said, let's get over to the conversation, and I'll shut up and start letting the smart people talk and not me. So today's guests, I'm really excited to have on 3 of our C-level geniuses, the ControlUp founder and COO, who made a joke about me that I'll have to learn about later, Yoni. And we have our CTO, Jon Wallace. And then, of course, good old ControlUp CEO, Jed Ayres, the man, the myth, the legend. Whoops. So that said, let me stop sharing for now. Let me go over and say hello to all you fine folks. So how are you all doing?
By the way, I know this looks like tea, right? But it's not. So just,
of course not. It's tequila, right?
What are you drinking? Kahlua?
It's just tea, man. It's all good.
It's
tea with what in it?
That's
Mexicans.
At 6 p.m. in Israel, right, Yoni?
Yeah, it's 6 p.m. over here, man. It's okay. It's legit.
It's 9 a.m. for me. This
it's legit.
Coffee.
This is Diet Mountain Dew. This is Diet Mountain Dew. So let's start off and let's talk about probably the biggest news in 2023. I started off 2023 about this time last year. Yoni, you and I and John, we were in New Orleans. It was a whole different feel. It was a wonderful time, great folks, super excitement. We're the best software company in the world. Now, fast forward a year, we're in Atlanta. We have fireworks. Actually, no fireworks, close to it. We had lights, camera, action, singers, dancers, you name it. The excitement is a whole new level. We have a new CTO, John. We have a new CRO, new CMO, and of course, Jed, a new CEO. So that's a lot of new C's. That's a lot of big changes within, at the highest level within this company. So my question is really to you, Yoni, as one of the co-founders and operators of the company. Why? What happened? What was the big change? And why did you and Asaf go down this path of hiring these stellar talent?
That's a great question, Doug. Thank you. I don't know why we did it. No, I'm kidding. It's there is I got this question a lot because, and I think it's what we did is not so trivial, right? ControlUp was, hopefully everyone agrees, ControlUp was a good company even before we added these awesome folks, right? Jed, Tom, John, even you, Doug, right? I think we're a decent company, but the way I see it, and I think Asaf strongly agrees with me. What we are doing here is taking something good and trying to make it great. And I think that's one of the advantages we have here. We are willing to take risks, right? We can stay good. We can, continue growing, 10, 20%. We think there is a chance for greatness here. And to achieve that, you take risks and you take something good and hopefully make it into something great. And I think we're on the right track for that. And that's the real honest reason, right? We looked out there. We got the opportunity to bring Jed on, which is a well-known veteran in this space. We admired what Jed did for Agile, and we think Jed, together with the new leadership we have, whether it's Steven, the new CMO, definitely Tom, right, who joined us from Citrix, they can bring this awesome flavor to the company, right? Joining us in the leadership team and really together do great things together. So that's the honest reason, right? Just trying to go from good to great. That's my 2 cents here.
I love it. I love it. So, John, you've been CTO for what? How long has it been? I have no clue on time anymore. Time has totally escaped me. 6 months? Longer?
Yeah, probably about 6 months. I mean, I joined ControlUp what 3 and a bit years ago now, Yoni, when
Correct.
when they took Avital, my organization, and yeah, so about 6 months ago, I took a broader role within the business, just focusing on the overall architecture, making sure we're trying to do things the same way and the right way. I mean, I don't like saying the right way because that sends a message that we weren't doing things the right way, and that couldn't be further from the truth. But there's a lot of good solutions and good implementations and good technologies inside this organization. A lot of phenomenal people, but as you can imagine, an organization with this many products has different ways of doing things. So one of the things I'm focusing on is taking the best of everything that we do. If we do something over there, that's good, making sure we do it everywhere else. If we do something over there, that's good, making sure we do that everywhere else as well. So all of our technologies have the best of everything. And then I'm also looking at some of the future stuff as well, some of our new initiatives, and I know we're going to talk about this, but the likes of AI and stuff like that. So it's fun. I mean, like I said, this is a phenomenal organization. I joked with Yoni many times before I joined, when I was doing Avital with John Rolls. John and I used to say all the time, wouldn't it be cool to end up at ControlUp? And we ended up at ControlUp. So
I want to say, John is being modest, but when we acquired Avital like 3 years ago, you guys had what, like 1,000 endpoints, I think, or like 1 or 2 customers, and it's fine, right? It's just the beginning of the journey for you guys, but we have crossed the 1 million HDX agent checkmark.
Yeah.
And everyone can talk, but this is like something you can touch and feel. This is real. There are more than 1 million endpoints out there running John's code. God have mercy on our souls. We'll see what happens with that. But,
just for the record, it's not just my code before everyone starts emailing me.
Okay, it's a whole team, right? But this is like the whole good to great thing. This was a risk, right? We took a leap of faith and we acquired the new technology with these awesome people, and yeah, it's proving itself. So I'm really happy about that.
You bet. Jed, I saved the newest for last. So you've been with the company. You've been with the company 4 months now. So what have you learned in the past 4 months? I know that really what you've spent a lot of your time is sort of on a listening tour, really understanding what you have here at ControlUp, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Not that there's any bad or ugly, just the great, I guess. And so what surprised you? What excites you? And what can we expect from you and ControlUp in 2024 from the highest levels? All right.
Yeah, well, I guess it has actually been longer than 4 months. I've been here since August 24th, and I took a 6-week break between leaving ControlUp, where I actually went to Israel twice. So feels like I've had a good solid 6 months plus looking at the company. And I'll start with just saying the people at ControlUp are amazing, right? The assembly of great minds and great humans that this company has brought together is yeah, it's great. Very ambitious, humble, technically smart people. The product is also incredible, right? The amount of value that we can bring and the speed at which we can bring it. We crossed over 1,800 customers this year, 400 new ones. And I think that's a testament to any software company, right? Is how many new customers are you adding that are getting value from the product? And you look at how we finished the year, high double-digit, growth throughout the year, but the Q4, 65% year-over-year growth. And I know we have a lot of people on this call that have been in end-user compute for a long time. I challenge you to find a company in EUC that's growing at 65% year-over-year. And that's a testament not only to the people, but the partnerships that we have, and the talent and the tech. So yeah, I guess the other thing that surprised me, Doug, is just like exactly how hot the space is. The employee experience space, people prioritizing and elevating, looking at how digital employee experience is being handled and what it looks like. And it really matters, right? Especially at the moments where those employees are interfacing with customers and impacting revenue. And I think boardrooms are starting to take notice. For those of you on this call that don't know, Gartner is going to publish a Magic Quadrant in September. That is by itself a recognition of a market that's that's red hot, has a lot of technology players in it that are differentiated enough to where they can actually build a Foursquare quadrant and map people out. So yeah, I guess I feel like a very lucky guy, Doug, to have landed here. Great people, great product. We're building an amazing plan to continue the growth that the company has been having. And yeah, underpinning the whole thing is just a lot of passionate partners and customers. And I include the community as the front of that, in terms of people that are passionate about helping us build a great product. And I guess I'll just put one other asterisk on this. I think one of the things that you get when you have a great team is you get domain expertise and you get people doing what they're magically gifted to do in the world. And I think that's part of what's occurred in the last 6 months is, really allowing Asaf and Yoni to go do what they love and let Tom and Steven and myself really focus on getting the go-to-market piece of it right. And it's a great partnership.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Yoni, 10 years ago, did you think you would be at this point today? You wake up and pinch yourself? You wake up
Well,
and cringe?
if I have to be honest, no, I don't think neither me or Asaf, thought that it will become, something this big and strategic for so many, customers and vendors. But I will tell you this, right? Like and I think maybe I said it before, but I don't mind repeating that. When we had the first version of ControlUp in our hands, it was an internal use, right? For us to go to customer sites and quickly see, which Citrix server is behaving. And, customers were asking for that. Hey, can you leave us a copy? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Coming back the next week to the same customer sites, seeing the ControlUp console opened on all of the sysadmin screen, zero training, zero push. That was like 100% product fit. And, at that moment, I was like, wait a minute, something is happening here. So I can't say I imagined, where we are today, but there was a good vibe from the first, week, right? So I'm surprised, but yeah, I think for a good reason. I think we have a good thing going on. We just need to keep pushing, right? Go to the next level.
Absolutely. On that note, I want to turn this over to you, Yoni, and have you sort of share some of the stuff you shared with the employees and some of our partners and at our sales kickoff or go to market here in Atlanta a few weeks ago. So let me well, the floor is yours. This is the good stuff. You can learn some cool things.
What you want to share the slide, Doug, or
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I was the one in charge of the slides here. I thought I was out of responsibilities, but I'm not.
our
What
AI
was I
sometimes
thinking?
automatically.
What was I thinking?
Yeah, so just
Okay.
to keep it sweet and short, I think we have two slides. One to kind of cover the main things we released or did in the previous year. And then, maybe the more interesting one, what we're planning for next year. So yeah, Doug, you can go probably to the next slide, the one after that. There you go. So it's a big list, and I'm happy it's a big list because we were hard at work. So we did many things. I'm not going to cover each and every one. By the way, if there are any questions on what we did here, then use the chat, use your hand, or whatever, the Q&A. But yeah, you can go back to the previous slides.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Bigger happy. Yeah, so these are the major things and I do want to highlight a few things here because I think what we did the previous year is kind of like highlighting what we are, the way we are operating, and also I think it's a good hint for next year. So something I'm trying to learn from other vendors or maybe other vendor mistakes. We're not, at any time we are not stopping the investment in our core products, right? So you can see here the list speaks for itself. VDI and DAS or Real-Time DX, it's still something we are heavily investing in, and you can see some of the major things we have added last year. I think the highlights for me is taking the web application, what used to be called Solve, into the next level to offer actions and many other enhancements. So really, unless you're a Chris Schreimer or a few other diehard legacy console fans, you will use the new web application. You will love it, right? I think it's offering a much nicer, more holistic view of your VDI and DAS environment, and we keep improving that. Historical reporting, actions, it's just keep getting better. And to me, I can't wait for next year. I hope that the last Real-Time DX console diehard fans will move as well, and I think we're getting there. Another interesting thing is the additional enhancements with integrations, right? So we are now looking on AVD as well, just like we are doing for Horizon and Citrix, and we want to keep doing that and make sure that we cover all the major vendors, right? So one of the big things with ControlUp is our multi-vendor support, right? If you're currently using Citrix and planning to move to AVD, if you're on AVD planning to move to Horizon or whatever, going back to Citrix on-prem, I'm hearing everything out there. We are there for you, right? To cover your existing solution, but also make sure that the new deployment is on par with what your SLA is configured for. Maybe one big other things we were busy with last year is the new streaming data pipeline, which enables to present, much faster reports, more in-depth metrics, and many things we'll cover this year. But this has been a big focus area for us. App ControlUp Com, right? So I think hopefully some of our customers are already using, many of them are using Solve and using, the Edge interface and many things. But honestly, the new App ControlUp Com platform, which is already being used by many customers, is where everything's come together. Okay, this is where we have the new consolidated modern login services and all the new features, which we'll cover in the next slide, will be solely available via the App ControlUp Com portal. So if you haven't planned a migration yet, now is a good time. We want to be in a place that sometime in Q2 this year, all of our customers, maybe excluding on-prem customers, will use App ControlUp Com as the day-to-day default ControlUp application. And already there are many reasons to do that. Okay, so that's a big one in 23, and I think we're already I'm by the way, myself as a rather heavy ControlUp user, I'm strictly using App ControlUp Com in the last few months and finding it a great fit for my needs. HDX, a lot of work has been done there. I think one of the biggest thing is like almost a complete rewrite of the major devices dashboard, which is now, I think, much more similar to the ControlUp brand, right? The nice grids, the filters, the sorting, the drill down. This was a big piece we achieved last year, and many other things which are entirely based on customer feedback. So performance dashboards. Now we have in Edge nice dashboards that show you in high level how your devices are acting up. So no need to go into the specific device level. You can look on the dashboards and quickly understand what's happening, even if you have 5, 10, or 20,000 devices. Remote control has been found to be a hit, right? The fact that it can work in any situation, you only need internet access. This is something we keep enhancing all the time. Remote file transfer, multi-monitor display, many other enhancements, and maybe the big news here, this year, this is also coming for VDI and DAS, right? So with the upcoming V9 version for EtherNDX, we are taking the same feature, we're actually using the same library and extending this awesome remote control capability to any VDI and DAS endpoint out there, which is pretty cool. And maybe two big features which we added, and I'm not sure they got the right press, but ServiceNow integration. We can now fully integrate with ServiceNow. So if you have an issue on your endpoint, this can automatically open a ServiceNow ticket, trigger a workflow. The ticket can be auto-updated and even auto-closed if one of the HDX remediation actually fixed the issue. And finally, Zoom and Teams monitoring. We go way beyond just the API monitoring. We use our agent to get your granular minute-by-minute UCNC call data, packet drop, latency, jitter, to really understand why a call may be suffering from performance issues or whatnot. One of the coolest things we release is ControlUp Enrich. If you haven't seen it yet, just go look at it right now. Anyone who is using Intune or ServiceNow, or honestly other web applications, Enrich is the best way to consume ControlUp data without ever leaving your favorite application, right? So we know some customers, especially the endpoint team, are using Intune on a daily basis. Enrich allows them to both view the HDX device metrics, also run actions without ever leaving the Intune interface. The same is true for ServiceNow, and we are going to expand that for other popular web applications like the Azure Windows 365 admin console, and pretty much other ticketing system and whatever you guys bring our way. And last but not least, CloudBees, our synthetic testing feature or module. The biggest thing we added is web application transaction monitoring. So we now go beyond just checking that the HTTP test is successful, or checking specific code. Now we can actually simulate a full-blown transaction, right? Logging into a web application, clicking on specific buttons, making sure that what comes back is what we're expecting to, and reporting on the full transaction from a performance and availability perspective. So lots of things, right? And we want to keep the same pace and maybe even go quicker in 2024. So again, if there are any questions on what we did or anything, feel free to ask in the chat. And let's look on what we're planning for this year. So I kept it. Yep. There you go. So I kept it quite high level, right? Because this is not a full-blown webinar or not, but we'll do it later this year. And yeah, Doug, we can probably do a few quick demos. I'm not sure we want to do it right now, but if you want to, if there is popular demand, we can probably do that. But I will start with some high-level explanation. So probably the one I'm most anticipating is the employee experience dashboard and score. So the reason I'm looking at this is because this is where we're going to bring everything together, right? So whether you're monitoring physical endpoints, VDI, DAS, everything is going to come together with the employee experience and employee view dashboards. Here we are going to see exactly what employee in your organization is doing, what's the experience on a minute-by-minute basis. We have some innovations in here Maybe I'll just mention one of them. The way we're going to calculate the experience score is in the good old ControlUp tradition. So we're going to do it in real time, every minute with 3-second samples, and we're going to base the score on what the user is really doing, right? So if the foreground app, the active app, is a web browser, we're going to focus on things like latency, packet drop. If the foreground app is a local PowerPoint presentation, we're going to focus on things like disk queue and CPU queue and stuff like that. So it's going to, I think, for the first time, provide a real accurate measurement of what's the real user experience in any given minute. And obviously, using aggregations and filters, you can view it on the high level, 10,000-foot view, and drill down all the way to a single employee, single minute, and understand what's maybe causing a performance issue. So that's a big one. Another big one, honestly, everything here is pretty big, so I'll stop using the big adjective. SecurityX. This is a brand new module, a brand new feature, where for the first time, ControlUp is going to provide visibility on the security posture of your devices or applications based on vulnerabilities, configuration policies, and also enable to run remediation actions. Yeah, you heard it right. So using the new SecurityX module, you can find out what are the major vulnerabilities affecting your endpoint fleet and applications, and you can also use this to do full remediation. So patch management using schedules, policies on demand, the whole thing is there. We believe that security plays a vital role in the experience, right? You can, if you have an awesome experience right now, but at the same time someone is hacking your computer, trying to encrypt your disk or steal data, eventually you will have a bad day, right? So we can't just look on metrics and sentiment. We have to also understand what's the security posture of the device and application, and that's what SecurityX is all about. AI, I think, John, you're going to speak about that for a bit.
Yeah, we'll have a chat about AI.
Okay, so I'm leaving this to John. I'm hoping John will actually show you some stuff because this is pretty amazing. So big stuff. Let's wait for John's part to show that. APIs. I'm hoping that 24 will be the year of ControlUp REST APIs. I know we have been lagging a bit out there. We do have full API coverage for Edge and Scoutbees and real-time the monitor cluster via PowerShell, but we want to be in a place where we have a centralized REST API endpoints with proper, concurrency management, pagination, security, and be able to reach from this endpoint to everything we cover, including the historical VDI data, real-time VDI data, Edge, Scoutbees, and even DEX management, right? So creating roles, creating users, configuring the most relevant configurations, and we are investing a lot in that. So watch out this space for enhanced APIs, brand new APIs, and a lot of documentation around that part. As I mentioned, we are not dropping the ball on VDI and DAS, right? We have lots of plans in 2024, whether it's new metrics, covering new protocols, new gateway solutions, profile management, right? I keep hearing that FSLogix is may not be as great as we thought due to some latest development with how Microsoft is treating that. So maybe some customers want to go back to UPM or Horizon DEM or whatnot. We are going to make sure that whichever solutions you guys are using, we are covering that. And one of the things we're working on, and I'm quite excited about that, is a brand new connection troubleshooting feature, right? So sometimes, I guess you guys know it better than I am, the connection may fail, whether it's to Citrix Cloud or any other vendor. We want to provide value in this area as well and allow you guys to quickly understand why a connection may have failed, what's the most probable root cause, and ideally also provide some remediations around that. And last but not least, this is another brand new module we're working on called WebDX. And that's enhancing our web application monitoring capabilities to go beyond synthetic testing and using a browser extension to also monitor what real users are doing when they run their favorite SaaS applications, right? So today we can already test Office 365 or Monday.com or Workday or whatnot using synthetic testing. We want to expand that and really provide a full-blown SaaS application monitoring solution that is working both with real user monitoring, synthetic testing, and connecting both to provide you with an holistic view and quickly identify why an issue may be happening. Is this on the vendor side? Is this on the specific endpoint side, on an ISP side, or whichever cause that may be the one causing an issue. So yeah, keeping it to high level throughout the year, we're going to deep down into many of these things, and yeah, hopefully you guys are excited about this as I am. This is pretty awesome.
Well, I'm definitely excited about all of it. To see the AI piece and the secure DX was really a big hit at in Atlanta, and of course from the ControlUp people, they loved it. But the partners that were there too, and they were the picky partners, the ones that are the really smart guys that dive into things, and they really love that too. So really neat technology. Excited about getting that more in the hands of people, and yeah, when could we expect any of this? Is anything you can share publicly?
Yeah, actually there was one question from the audience I do want to answer. So there was a question about MSPs and what we are doing with that. So I haven't mentioned it in the slide, but that's one of our focus areas. Mainly around real-time DX, we are simplifying the prerequisites and changing some of the flows and UI, so it's much easier to fully deploy real-time DX in a modern, complicated MSP environment. Edge is already doing a very good job there, so not a big gap. So we are working on tightening our MSP, approach and offering for everyone out there. So that's one thing. Regarding timelines, the good news is that many of the things I've shown on slides are actually coming quite soon, right? So both the employee score and the AI chatbot should make it out there in Q1, like in this quarter. Secure DX is also available for design partners, and we hope to go GA either this quarter or next quarter. And Web DX is a bit down the road, probably H2 this year. So yeah, many things will be available quite soon, which is great.
Perfect. And thank you, Hunter, for the question about MSP. And since we have Jed here, Jed, can you comment anything about our relationships with MSPs moving forward?
Well, I guess I'd start with just saying our partner strategy is changing dramatically. We just had our go-to-market kickoff in Atlanta, and we invited our partners right in alongside of our sellers. And we're really prioritizing the partner community as a route to market, and obviously included in that is the MSP. And we think with DAS and the sort of migration from VDI to DAS that you're going to see more MSP. And so we're prioritizing that not only in the field, but also in the product. And I think Yoni maybe want to speak a little bit to some of the things we've done in the 9.0 release that are going to make it easier for MSP. And I think there's even a couple questions in the chat about this. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about some of the things we're doing and are going to do there.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, again, I don't want to take too much time, but Real-Time DX v9 is a big step towards, fully modernizing our Real-Time DX stack, right? So I'll take two prime examples. Okay, one, we are dropping the need for monitors to be a part of an AD domain, right? And it's true for the entire solution. So many MSPs and many large customers are now deploying VDI and DAS on modern Azure environments. So there is no legacy AD. And we are now fully supporting that, right? So you can deploy the monitors on, pure Azure AD or workgroup VMs. You can do user management and permissions without a legacy AD. That's a big step forward. The other big change is with the ControlUp agents, we are still leaving the legacy networking flow if needed, but we're introducing a modern flow where the agents are now connecting to the cluster via outbound SSL or TLS. Which makes things much more simple, right? You can just drop a few ControlUp agents at a tenant site or wherever, and the only prerequisite would be outbound SSL TLS to the monitor cluster, which will make things much easier for many deployment modes. We're going to continue this with the later this year with 9.05 or 9.1, where we're going to reach a point where also the other prerequisites will all move to only outbound TLS SSL. Full-blown model onboarding via the web or Azure Marketplace. So Yeah, stay tuned, but already V9 is a big leap in simplifying V9 or simplifying real-time DX deployments in those complex multi-tenant MSP or modern Azure environments.
Perfect. I love it. I'm a big fan of MSPs, huge fan. That said, John, AI is cool. I mean, come on, it's cool. Can you talk a bit about what you're doing over there and the demo you showed? And Leroy even mentioned it in the comments. It blew him away and blew me away. Can you talk a bit about this stuff, John?
Yeah, so I think the year of EDI, year of ControlUp. I think many people think this is the year of AI. Maybe it could be. I think the challenge look, so AI brings a lot of benefits, also brings a lot of challenges. I think for a lot of people or organizations, AI is kind of this hype cycle right now, whereby ChatGPT came into the world and all of a sudden like AI is going to change everything when we're now in Terminator mode and things like that. And I think the more people use, the more organizations rather try and put AI into their products and stuff, very quickly they learn the limitations of AI. And the reality of it is it's still pretty difficult. It is pretty difficult to put AI into technologies. It's a lot of work, and the reason I say this is I think there's a perception out there that now that ChatGPT exists, you just plug it into your product and you now have AI. And that's not true. I mean, we've got some smart people, PhDs, like data experts who are like mapping AI functionality and features and capabilities to our data set to truly enable AI. Jed pinged me the other day, sent me an article. Someone was talking about machine learning and stuff, and they were saying the same things. They were saying a lot of organizations are going to struggle. And Jed's like, "Is this what you mean when you say true AI?" True AI is a big word for me because you've got AI, then you've got true AI, and I want to be sure that when we put AI into our products, it's true AI. It's real. It's not just like if the customer types this, then respond like this. No, it really has to understand and be able to make its own determinations and things like that. But for me, AI is going to change the way in which humans interact with products, with technologies. If you think, Yoni was talking in his slides then, all the wonderful work that we've put into dashboards and charts and graphs and reports and things like that. And it truly is, it truly is wonderful. I mean, there's a lot of great capabilities in there. But underneath all of that, there is still a premise that is flawed is the wrong answer, but I'm going to use the word flawed, which is as a customer, you have all of these assets, you have all of these devices, applications, and everything like that. And you want to see data about them. You want to see what's going wrong. You want to see what's going right. You want to see how they're being used, etc. And this is why people buy technologies from the likes of ControlUp. And as a vendor, we assume that we know what you want to see. We assume that, yeah, Mr. Customer, you want to see this data. And that's right to some degree, but every customer is different. Every person's different. Every sysadmin's different. They want to see this metric presented in a certain way, in a different way. And it's impossible for a vendor to map every single way that everyone wants to see the data and make everyone happy. It's impossible to do. Well, AI allows people to arguably see data in a way that they want, catch problems that they don't necessarily know how to ask for or understand what to request and things like that, and they don't even necessarily know they've got problems. So for me, AI is just going to change the way in which products are interacted with. It's going to change the way in which products can actually do things. It can make a lot of these decisions themselves. It really is going to change a lot, not just for ControlUp, but in industry in general. We're going to see a massive shift and very quick shifts as well. You know, if you look back through history, Doug, there are certain inflection points, right, where things just hockey sticked, like the cell phones, for example. We all had iPads, you know, remember the compact iPad and stuff? And you used to download apps from like Two Cows and stuff like that, right? You know, it was out there. And then Apple came along with the iPhone, and then they brought the App Store, and it went boom. You know, all of a sudden, everybody's got a smartphone and apps and things like that. And that was an inflection point. Voice control, for example, we've had that voice control for a long time. We've all probably used drag and dictate on this thing, but then the smart home assistants came out, and you know, and Siri and things like that, and it went through the roof. And AI is going to do the same thing. We're at a point where just the way in which we interact with computers is just gonna be a hockey stick. You want to see what we've been working on? Should we show some stuff?
I would
Yeah?
love to see it. Yeah, absolutely.
All
I think
right,
they would
so-
love to see it. Who doesn't want to see things? Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so AI for me is a multi-phase. We have a roadmap, you know, that goes over the next 12 months. First stage of that roadmap is what we call the generative AI. So it's the ability to ask a question and get an answer back in a way that you want that answer to be returned. Beyond that, we're then going to start to look at things like, well, we're already looking at it, but we're going to be focused on things like anomaly detection, so spotting trends in data that you don't necessarily know are there to highlight issues, etc. And then ultimately where we want to get to towards the end of this year is what we call true problem identification and remediation. So the idea is that not only can you spot an anomaly, but using other AI options as well, it can actually go and find why that anomaly is occurring, what changed in your environment, and just give you ultimately an answer. Hey, you've got this occurring in your environment. It's because of all of these changes. You might want to go and do this. Here's a button. Do you want us to go and do it for you? So what I can show now is I can show the first part, which is the generative AI bot. Let me share my screen. Here we go. All right, so you should be able to see my screen here, yeah? Okay, yes. Cool. So we have this little button here. So this is you know, the app.controlup.com, the ControlUp Dex environment that we should have all used. If not, I definitely encourage you to be using this. But I've got this little button here. I'm going to click on this button, and it's going to bring me to this page. Now I'm only going to do a couple of questions. And we'll see what happens. We've got some pre-designed questions that we can use just so you can click on it quick. So, for example, I can scroll through these. Like this is just a visualization of a data one. So show me a graph of the average CPU for the last week. So if we click on this, it's going to go back and I could have typed this question as well. I just clicked on it, and here you can actually see here's a chart of the average CPU across my devices over the last week. So let's take the same question. For example, I'm going to put it in here. I'm just going to say over the last month as well. And what it's going to do, it's going to go away. It's going to query that data. And this time it's given me in a table form. So here you can actually see, but I want this in a line chart. So show me this in a line chart. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually take the conversation that we're having. That one never worked. We are still working on this. It's very much early stages right now. But ultimately, what should have happened there is it should have known we're having a conversation about this data, and it should have brought that back and put me that in a line chart. But again, what we're actually allowing it to do is to interact with the data in a raw form. So I've got some UCC data here as well. So let's do a new conversation, for example, go to UCC. And I want to say, show me all the callers on a map for the last day. Hopefully we've had some calls today that we can show. So here's calls. Here's our Zoom and team calls that have happened today and where those calls came from. And then I can start to interact. So let's say who made the most Zoom calls today. Let's see if this works. So again, just while this is going away, so there are 684 rows of data available. Okay, so again, we're still working on these queries. This is an early prototype right now, or an early beta release, if you like. So these are going to get better. Here's what happens now as well, is the fact that this question didn't give me back the data I want. I'm going to go ahead and click the down thumb there. So we'll take that question now. We'll understand what you asked, we'll understand what went wrong, and then we'll fix that question. We'll basically teach the bot how to answer that question and questions like it. And then hopefully, you know, in a day or two, the next time someone asks that question, it will be a lot better. Let's just do one more question, one more conversation. Ask it what's new. So here's hello. You can actually see it said hello. It's going to tell us what's new and things like that. But yeah, I mean, again, the idea is that you will be able to ask, questions the way you
Don't answer about John Connor's whereabouts, John.
It wants John Connor's whereabouts. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
the bot is asking where John Connor's located.
Yeah, I would avoid answering that. That's
so yes, that's ultimately our chatbot here.
Yeah, I think this is really awesome. Like we are like the fact that we are allowing you to visualize the data, right? So the replies are not just texts. That's a big step forward, because as John said, this is the first step in allowing you guys to query the data, but not just get results, but also visualize them in the most appropriate way. And we do think about this is kind of like the first step to an AI-based custom dashboards, custom reports, which is going to be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we actually opened it up. We opened it up to all of our internal people when we were in Atlanta, and the idea was we wanted to just get, you know, questions coming in. Right now, my plan is to be able to get this out to, you know, general people, so everyone on this call and others, pretty much before the end of this quarter. So sometime in February, hopefully people will be able to get their hands on it and use it themselves. And it's not going to be perfect at first. You know, AI is like an infant, right? You've got to teach it, you've got to train it. You know, and as it grows, as it gets older, the more data it consumes, the more question it consumes, it's just going to keep getting better.
John, here's an interesting one for you. It just popped in the chat. Is the final goal of AI in ControlUp to detect and fix things automatically?
So yeah, that's an interesting one. So I'm going to be cautious. So the goal of our AI is to detect, identify, and advise on how to fix something. I'm not sure we want to allow it to automatically fix things, at least not yet, because next thing you know, you've got Skynet and things like that. All joking aside, I think there's going to be a period of, you've got to build up trust, right? So like, use Tesla as an example. Self-driving, honestly, most times it's pretty flawless. Jed, you use your self-driving, right?
I do.
Most times it's good, but you know, it has ran people over and things like that. So let's make sure that AI is not shutting down your network at first.
You got it. We have a few more minutes. Yoni, you offered to show us secure DX real quick, right?
Yeah, we can spend like a minute. This is still, you know, in a private beta, but yeah, for sure. Let's spend.
And definitely, everyone, please realize that everything we're showing you is still in the labs, right? Or still development. It's out of the labs and in development. So, you know, it'll look different probably. It'll feel different probably. It'll be better, you know, but we wanted to show it to you, right?
Yeah, so as I said, like most of the new innovations, like AI and Secure DX, they will only be available via the new app ControlUp platform. So make sure you start planning those migrations. So this is the new Secure DX module, right? It's fully based on the Edge DX device population, right? So if you click here on devices, you will see all the Edge DX devices you're managing in that tenant. But because we now have a new Secure DX, you know, binaries that go way deeper and from security, we now have lots of cool new features. Okay, first we can see what are the major issues that inflict my network, right? So the issues are kind of like ranked based on severity, which by itself is based on, how many devices, applications, or users are affected, and what's the severity level of the vulnerabilities. Okay, so that's one thing, and we can drill down and see what's up. I'll just give you one example on a specific device, right? So here we see, for example, that this Phoenix workload device has a pretty low score. Okay, we can drill down to this device, and SecureDX will show you the metadata, the security score, and also all the issues we have found, right? So all the open vulnerabilities based on the applications we found installed, what's the details. And as I mentioned, luckily for us, we can, assuming we have the remediation in place, we can go ahead and actually remediate the situation, which means we'll patch the relevant apps or the relevant OS patches. And once we run the next scan, you will see that security score goes up and these vulnerabilities go down. So that's a pretty big thing, right? We can also show you which EDR or AV agents are deployed on the device, which network ports are open and being used. So we go quite deep on a per device level, but we also keep this application and user views because in the end we're a DEX solution, right? So we're not looking just at devices, we're looking on users, and we're looking on apps, and we can tell you which apps pose the biggest threat, right? Because they're either deployed on most devices or are currently exposed with the most severe vulnerabilities. So yeah, that's like the 2 minutes quick pitch. Jed, Doug, sorry, won't go too deep.
Perfect. We only have a few more minutes. We have some questions. Let's get to this, and I have one more for Jed. As I'm going through the questions, Jed, real quick, my question for you is, Simon Townsend joined. This is really great and probably great for a lot of the folks on it. We all know Simon. Can you talk a bit about what he's going to be doing here? A field CTO, that's definitely a big thing for us in the community and in the technical side. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so I think one, it's just great to be working with him again. This is my third company working with Simon, and he's a unique skill set, and he's going to lead our global field CTO office. And so what is that? It's really the sort of bridge between our R&D organization and the outside world, whether that's partners or customers, right? And so he's your conduit in terms of being a voice back into our R&D in terms of things that you would like to see, enhanced in the solution. And then he's also, gonna be a bridge back for the things you're getting updated on today. His team will be, doing that in the field for both partners and customers. So one of the things I'm committed to as a new CEO is being a great listener. And I think the community is a great place for us to hear from highly invested technical people, so that we can make this product even better. Tomorrow we have our first pretty sizable customer council, where we're going to listen, to them about what they think needs to happen. We've done a partner council. We're doing employee councils. So we're really trying to get our ear to the ground. And Simon's role is to shorten the distance in both directions. So if you guys don't know Simon, please reach out to him, connect to him. He's always on and accessible. And he also has a North American individual on his team, Marcel. And so between the two of them, you have two great resources for kind of like individual attention around some of the innovation and the things you want to potentially see in the product. I'll put both of their LinkedIn. I'm sure most everyone on this call knows Simon Townsend, but I'll put their LinkedIn in the chat. We're happy to connect you with these guys. But yeah, they're gonna play. Well,
Perfect. Simon's brilliant, and Marcel's just absolutely wonderful. So we're gonna have to do this lightning round, guys. So we have a few minutes left. So ControlUp is moving into the patch management space. Yes, no, somewhat.
Somewhat.
Okay. Luke, you'll have
I
to
think
wait
the
for
reality
more.
is we have a lot of rich data, and we are going to help people identify when they're out of compliance, both apps and operating system levels. And I think when we think about 80% of the breaches that happen out there where bad things happen, it's about hygiene around patching. And so we want, given the rich data that we have, we want to be a partner to the end user compute and to the security teams out there and keeping the bad guys away.
That's well said, Jed. That's really well said. When will V9 become available?
So we're already in private beta with like 10, 15 customers. Public beta should start either next week or the week after. So everyone can join in, and GA hopefully in a month or 4 or 5 weeks. So that's where we're at right now.
Perfect. And one thing to note about the betas is if you're a community member, we do have a beta channel. So when there's a new beta, you'll see it in there and you can subscribe. And if you don't want to subscribe, maybe it's something you don't care about, maybe it's you don't use that or you don't have time for it, you can still follow along. So you can stay up to date on what's going on, which is a great way to be ahead of the curve, right? So I'll definitely check that out. Be a member. Will we be able to teach it fixes or problems? AI, I guess that means Paul's saying. Jon?
So yeah, ultimately, the first instance is the chatbot, and again, that's like a GPT-esque generative AI bot. Once you get the anomaly detection, that's going to identify issues. You're then going to still need to do a little bit of manual work to figure out what the issue is, etc. But ultimately, in the end, the idea is that it'll learn your environment, learn your data, learn about your anomalies, tell you what to do. And sure, you'll be able to enrich that data. You'll be able to enrich that intelligence and things like that. It'll basically learn how you use AI inside your product. That's ultimately the goal. We have a very aggressive roadmap for this.
I love it. I love it. And we're right. I mean, we're half a minute left, and it's the last question. I love this question. I've heard it so many times in the community. Are there any efforts to combine the agents, remote DX, secure DX, XDX, next DX, right? And all into one install? Yoni, Jon?
The answer is yes. Yeah, we are working on enhancing our agent manager to facilitate the deployment and other updates of more modules. And remote DX, and by the way, secure DX is already part of that. So when we release it, the Edge agent will manage the updates and deployments, and we are going to hopefully expand that for remote DX and other agents in 24. Yeah.
Perfect. Jed, look at me with this time. That's pretty impressive. It is the top of the hour. We've completed. I hope you've all enjoyed this meetup. Yoni, Jed, Jon, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. A happy new year to everybody. Definitely, if you're not a member of the ControlUp community, please join us because it's where you're going to find content like this. It's where you're going to stay up to date. It's where you're going to get into those betas. It's where you're going to learn all about all this new stuff. And I know there's things I don't know, but I can only imagine there's things I don't know they're working on that are coming soon too. They're shaking their heads, so it's true. So they don't tell me anything, but I'll tell you. So on that note, I wish you all a great year of ControlUp. I'm sticking with it, Jed. You got to prove me right. Yoni, Jon, you guys got to. I don't want to look. I don't want to have.
I wake up every day, Doug, to prove you right on this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you saved
everyone.
me from jumping. You saved me from jumping. Total inside joke. Jed gets it. Maybe a few other people too. On that note, thank you all. Have a happy new year.